right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. So I'm going to note, my friends, we are going to run through the numbers pretty quickly today, and we are doing our normal kind of numbers. Part of the reason that I want to make that clarification is because tomorrow at our all partners meeting, we are going to be reviewing some of the numbers specifically that are for California. So, and I mean California as a whole, right? So right now we go over LA County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, and our Riverside County, which were some of the counties that we serve. And yet there's some data that I was able to listen to last week that came from the CAR chief economist. And so I took a lot of notes on that, and I want to make sure that we share some of those stats. So we will be sharing kind of the more important pieces of that tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, so I can show you a little bit of what that looks like. So we're gonna go through today. So let's get it going. And again, I know that we've been jumping around on some of the data that we've been showing the last couple of weeks. I showed you guys 3 years worth of data this last session. Right now, what we're going to be looking at is specifically where we are month to date through the 16th of the month. So as of yesterday. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. As always, TCPA. My friends, you know that anything that we talk about, any of the language that we use that you can utilize for speaking with your clients, we just ask that you do so in a TCPA compliant way. All right. As we get started, I actually am going to have my friend Luis Mendoza come up and give us a little bit of a minute. Welcome, Luis.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. So just wanted to let you guys know we are seeing rates, of course, increasing gradually. Right now, a conventional loan has a 7.6% average rate. And FHA home loans are going to be right around 7 to 7.2. Now I'm going to tell you why that doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter because most lenders that we work with are offering the 2-1 buy down program. 2-1 buy down essentially means that you can buy down the rate, and this is not your client that's going to pay for it. Most of the times is the seller of the property who wants to help out and close that transaction. They're going to be helping you out to get this 2-1 buy down so that your client, instead of getting a 7% rate, can start their loan with a 5% rate. And then the following year is going to move up to the 6% interest rate. And the third year is going to go up to perhaps 7%, which is definitely going to beat the projections that we're seeing right now of interest rates hitting the 8 and 9% mark within the next 2 years if things continue to go the way they're going. So talk to us about the 2-1 buy down, which is making it real simple for your buyers to be able to afford those payments. Again, sellers are cooperating. They're definitely giving a lot more concessions, and this is one of the ways that you can help out your clients as well. We're also running soft credit pools, and that's so important, guys, because when you run a soft credit pool, your competition does not know that your client is looking to get pre-approved for a home mortgage. Because what happens is when we run credit, a hard pull credit, the banks are going to start contacting that person, offering lower rates, and they usually come with their own realtors that can help the person. So you don't want to lose your client to a hard credit pull. So go ahead and contact us for those soft credit pulls. And that is all we got on the Mortgage Minute.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luis. Interesting, isn't it, my friends, that the way that data is used, right? We've talked about data being the new oil for a very long time. And yet here we are with these hard credit pools and that data being then sold so that they can be marketed to, right? That's when we get all that spam mail that you get all the time. That's a lot of where it comes from, is because of that data. I'm going to note, so Luis just talked about something that has been at the forefront of our mind right now, and that is our rate buy downs. We also know that right now, I know when we hear a 7.6 interest rate, it can feel very high. And again, when we look at that historical data, we're really just back to our about industry average since 1971, right? Is about where we're hitting right now. So in reality, is it that high? Well, if we look at the short term, sure, it feels very high. But if we look at historical, then it is still fairly historically average right now. Now, the other thing I'm going to note, my friends, because there's a lot out there about interest rates, a lot of projections that you'll see about interest rates that exist out there. There's a lot of language that gets used around interest rates. I want to give you one caveat to this when we're talking with our clients, right? It is incredibly important that as we talk to our clients, we are giving them the different options that are available to them and having them speak with a professional in the mortgage industry. What do I mean by that? What I mean is we can use data like this, right, to show that this is a historical rate right now, right? That it's not high if we look at the historical data. But I've seen a lot of articles that are saying, hey, we project interest rates to be at X next year. We project X, whatever it might be, whether interest rate going up or interest rate going down. What we can't do as realtors, right? What we can't do as realtors is say, oh, well, let's lock you in at this interest rate because next year, based on whatever, the interest rate is going to go down, right? Because now we're getting financial advice. We can say, hey, I want to make sure you're comfortable with wherever you're at right now. And if it goes down in the future, as they're projecting, then, you know, that's going to be great news. But we don't want to make that a condition or an expectation of the client, right? Because we have absolutely no way to 100% know what is going to be true in the future. We only know what historical shows us, but we're not a crystal ball. We can anticipate what may be coming down. If inflation numbers stay high, we know interest rate tends to stay high. And so we know some of what might happen, but we can't have a client kind of expecting or really tying their ability to purchase on the basis of that, because now we fall into legal advice or financial advice territory. So just want to note that these rate buy downs are going to be a great opportunity. Please make sure to talk to your mortgage professional about that. And if you have any clients and your pre-approval is not up to date, please, my friends, get those approvals up to date. All right, we've talked a little bit about our KW Cares trucks that are out in Florida. Just a reminder, I know there's some emails going out about that. The class that they did, so some of you were able to attend the class that sponsored KW Cares and some of what is happening in Florida right now. That truck, right, they sent a couple trucks out with generators, etc. They did an entire day-long class with some amazing producers, and they exchanged it for a $25 donation. I'm going to note that class is still available if you'd like to purchase the recording for a $25 donation to KW Cares. That email did go out, so keep an eye on that as well, my friends. All right, jumping on in to LA County. Today, what we're going to be looking at is the 1st through the 16th of the month. We know number of properties for sale. We've experienced a little bit of jump thus far this month at 0.7%. And yet the number of properties that have sold are down in Los Angeles County month to date, 29.9%, down 50% from last year, and properties for sale are up. I'm going to note as a reminder, right? As a reminder, when we look at this data, because we always want to inspect what we are expecting. We know that when we went back to 3 years ago and we started looking at pre-pandemic data, then these numbers were not quite as large, right? And I say that because we always want to put that into perspective of where the market is. Yes, compared to last year, we're seeing a big increase in the amount of inventory on the market and a big decrease in the number of sales that are occurring. But again, we've had a skewed seasonality for the past 2 years. So that's always important for us to take into consideration as well. Looking at our new listings coming on the market, Thus far, month to date, new listings on the market are down 26%. We month over month, we're going to start anticipating a drop as we come to the end of the year, which is fairly typical of fourth quarter. Properties pending down 21.9% month to date. When we look at this in comparison to a year ago, number of new listings still down, right? So we can see where we're currently at in comparison to about where we were at this same time period a year ago. Again, the last 2 years have been very hot for the real estate market. So we're seeing a decline of 35.9% in new listings and in pendings down 47.2%. We're going to go into that a little bit more as we get towards the end. I want to give kind of a review of what we're seeing across the board. How about our pricing, right? Our pricing, average active price, a slight decline here of 1.4%. And yet when we look at our average sold price month to date, we are still in the green here, right? When we look at this average sold price from this same time a year ago, we are still in the green here as well. We talked about what happened with appreciation over the past 2 years. Last year was the single greatest year in appreciation that we've seen. It was a historical high on the rate of appreciation. What we knew coming into this year is that it was likely, right? It was likely that appreciation would slow, but not necessarily that we would see very quick depreciation. There was a Buffini podcast that came out this past week. One of the things that they talked about was that transactions across the board, right? The number of transactions that are occurring across the board are down about 20%. Now, that did not equate, however, to home prices being down 20%. In fact, across the board, even though prices had decreased in recent months, not looking at a county by county basis, but if we look at the market as a whole, what we have found is that home prices are actually still up about 15% compared to the same time last year. So that's really important for us to have an understanding of when we see that, hey, the transactions are down, we're seeing increases in the interest rates, and so that impacts affordability. And yet we're not necessarily seeing the prices decline at the rate that some may expect, right? Because we saw such appreciation that occurred. That's not to say that we're not going to see some depreciation in price. It is a possibility, and there's a lot of projections out there that are predicting it because there has to be something to compensate for some of the affordability factor in the market right now. But what this also means is we start to see a change in the profile of the type of buyers that are buying right now. So what do I mean by that, right? Is that while we have certain buyers that are taken out of the market because affordability becomes a factor for them, there are also some buyers that are getting into the market right now, specifically our investor and cash buyers right now. We're seeing that type of phone call, that type of inquiry pick up a lot right now. And so anticipate that. The other reason why this is going to be really important that we're still seeing this kind of average sold price be in the green is because if we were to take this data back even further, 2 years, 3 years, then we can still see a pretty significant rate of appreciation. This is the conversation that we should be having with our potential sellers. There is a really great marketing piece that is available to those of you that are here with Keller Williams in your Michael Lewis Marketing Suite resource box. There is a flyer called 11 Reasons Why People List During the Holidays or Why to Sell During the Holidays. I know that in previous years, we've done where those get mailed out to those in your database or in particular markets. And those have been a really great opportunity to take listings because no matter what, as we look at what is happening in the economy and we look at what is happening with interest rates, people still buy and sell on the basis of life cycles, right? We talk about that a lot. Okay, months of inventory. As of right now, month to date, this is up 39.6%. We're at about 3.5 months of inventory. So we are seeing this starting to trickle up. We're going to keep monitoring this, but this is pretty similar across the 4 counties. And then average days on market, We've seen this go up 10.3%. We are still lower in our average days on market than we were in 2019. Okay, we're still lower in average days on market than we were in 2019. So yes, this is longer, which means it's incredibly important as well that we set an expectation for all those clients that think, hey, you know what, homes were selling in 7 days and now they're selling in 32, and they're wondering why they don't have offers or why they haven't been able to put their home in escrow. It is going to take a little bit longer right now, right? Also, sold versus original list price, this is down 1%. We saw that average active price is pretty stagnant. It was a slight decline in that active price. And so what we're seeing right now is that homes are selling about 5% below the original list price. This is why it is so important that we make sure that we are pricing correctly, right? That we're pricing correctly, because there's a couple things that happen. We would be selling at original list price if the original list price coincided with where market value should be. What we're seeing is a lot of negotiation happening right now during the transaction that is decreasing that sold price as well. I'm going to note in California, right? In California, about 43.2% of properties have had a price reduction. That is based on California data across the various MLSs. And so when we look at this sold versus original list price, yeah, a little bit less than half of the properties on the market are not priced correctly to sell in this market and are experiencing price reduction. All right, jumping on over to Orange County, number of properties for sale. It is up month to date, but this is not a very big increase. Now, if we look at what it was a year ago, it's almost double, right? We're a little bit over double here at 101.1%. We look at our properties sold month to date, down 24.3%, down 42.3% from this same time a year ago. We look at our inventory trends, right? Month to date, we are seeing listings and pendants experiencing a decline. Now, when we look at month over month data, going into the fourth and the first quarter, we always anticipate that we see month over month declines, right? So this number is not surprising that we're experiencing a decline month over month. However, we are also experiencing a decline from this same time a year ago. Now, we know, again, last 2 years, we've had skewed seasonality, which saw kind of increased numbers across the board. And yet we still kind of want to be cognizant of that, because that is a bit higher here. Okay, looking at our pricing trends. Now, in LA County, we saw this average active price be slightly, a little bit, way less than this, right? We're seeing a more significant increase in that average active price in Orange County. And yet again, our average sold price is still in the green, but this is pretty stagnant, right? This is pretty balanced. So if we look at where we were a year ago, that's fairly balanced in our average sold price. If we went back 2 years, this is still a significantly higher number than it was in 2020 or in 2019, which is why this is an important number to create urgency, right, for sellers that are waiting to list right now, right? Because they want to take advantage of the equity that they've gained if they are planning to sell. All right, looking at our absorption rates, as anticipated, we are seeing an increase. This is a little bit less of an increase than when we saw in LA County in terms of the inventory coming on the market. But that's also post-July, we saw a little bit more of a dip. And so we're at about 2.3 months of inventory right now, which is higher than we were in July. We'll see if we end the month there, right? This number isn't final until we end the month, depending on what sells over the next few weeks. But we are seeing a lot of extensions on escrows right now. I will note, generally in a normal market, we were seeing that our escrow period was about 30 days or less. Right now, I would say we're experiencing longer escrow times. We're experiencing a lot of delays. I'm seeing a lot of requests for time extensions, right? Extension of time addendums right now that are coming and getting added to a lot of files right now. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, again, average days on market, we're anticipating an increase. We're at about 34 days on market right now for Orange County. But again, this is still lower than what we experienced in 2019. And then our sold versus original list price is matching up with our LA County at about 95% of lists. All right, Riverside County, getting into our lower price point areas. Number of properties for sale, a 5.3% increase month over month, an 88% increase from this same time a year ago. We look at properties sold, we're seeing that decline of 25.3% month over month, down 45.6% from a year ago. We look at the number of new listings coming on the market. We're in the red across the board here at down 26.5% and pendants down 17.4%. A reminder that in month over month, we anticipate that. And yet when we look at this from a year ago, down 35% and down 39.9% in properties pended here as well. Looking at our average active price, the average active price in Riverside County is actually in the green at 2.4% increase from a month ago. And take a look at this average sold price. So I'm going to note in both LA and Orange County, we're seeing this average sold price is experiencing a little bit of that decline. It is still in the green for both of those counties, and yet it's under 1%, right? They were at point something, 0.1, whatever it might be here. In Riverside County, we're seeing a 4.3% increase right here. So we've kind of seen some fluctuations that occurred right over here. We saw in August, we were at about 645 and then it went down to 633. Now we're seeing a little bit of fluctuation of where we are month to date. We may still end the month and we could still end the month in the red or pretty balanced here, right? Because we're about 630. We ended September at about 633 here. So this is just going to be something that we want to keep cognizant of. We want to keep an eye on. Riverside County is one of our higher risk areas. And so for those that are interested in selling, now would be a great time to take advantage of that equity in this particular area as well, especially since there is anticipation that Riverside County may see some more significant price corrections than some of the other areas. Okay, months of inventory, 3.8, right? From 2.8 month to date. That is a 36.2% increase. We're starting to see this kind of absorption rate grow across the board right now. And then average days on market up to about 37 days at 12.1% increase. And the sold versus original list price is holding pretty steady here at 96%. So LA and Orange is at about 95% of list. Riverside County is about 96% of list price as of right now. Last but not least, looking at San Bernardino County. When we look at the number of properties for sale, a slight increase here at 0.6%, up 81.4% from last year. Sold down 24.4% month over month and down 45% from a year ago. We look at the new listings coming on the board, down 35.6%. When we look at our month over month, down 43.7% year over year. Pendants, I'm going to note right here on the new listings, right? I think that's important. We are seeing that across the board in every single county, we have seen this number be down, right? I'm going to note as an office, and so I want to congratulate all of you. As an office, our listings year over year is up 35.1% year to date. And so we're seeing that across the board, if we're looking at data for these counties, which is primarily CRMLS and CLAW, right? We're seeing a decline. As an office, we are outperforming the market right now, which is great news that we carry more of these listings and that we continue to take more of these listings out on the market right now. And now the goal is, hey, we got to get those prices right? To get those listings moving, because we know across the board that we are seeing our days on market experience that increase. Again, here's San Bernardino County, our average active price, right? Month over month down 1.6%. and the average sold price down 2.7%. So we are starting to see this in the red. And yet we look at the average sold price from a year ago, still up 4.9%. So in our lower price counties, we aren't seeing that these declines on the average sold price year over year are as significant as they are in LA and Orange County right now. This is, again, a great opportunity to have a conversation with sellers that you have in that area about taking advantage of where they're at in the market right now. All right, absorption rates from 3.1 up to 4 months of inventory. That is at about 28.9% increase. So what does that look like, right? Throughout a lot of the pandemic, even through the end of December, we saw this number primarily in the ones. What that meant was if no other listings came on the market and the rate of sales stayed the same, that we would about have 1 month to sell everything that is on the market. Right now, we're sitting at about 4 months of inventory if no other listings came on the market today based on the rate of current sales. All right, average days on market up 16.1%, up to 36 days on market. A reminder that yes, we are seeing these days on market go up over a month. We still want to set the expectation with our clients, right? In my experience, when we look at a particular property, if I'm not getting any showings, right, in the first 14 days, we've got a pricing issue. If we've had about 7 showings and no offers, we've got a pricing issue, right? And so that's still important for us to take a look at. Yes, might properties take longer, right? Might they take a little longer to go into escrow before they go under contract? Yes, there's more negotiation, there's more back and forth that's happening, right? What does that mean? It means it might be slower before somebody is ready to make an offer. Buyers are a little bit more discerning and more negotiative right now, right? When we're in a counter offer situation, everybody is like, I need to get my offers in yesterday. Everybody is getting their offers in quickly, and going into escrow happens very, very quickly. In a market like this, listing agents are doing a more thorough job of vetting the buyers because they don't want to fall out of escrow, right? And they might have less buyers. And so there's more negotiation that's happening, which is kind of delaying some of this days on market as well. Sold versus original list price. This is down. We're at about 94% of lists in San Bernardino County right now. So this is the lowest of the 4 when we look at the sold versus original list price ratio. All right, a couple of announcements. As I mentioned, we've got our team meeting happening here at the office tomorrow. Then next week, right? So tomorrow will be at 3 p.m. Sorry, I don't have a flyer for our team meeting for you guys. But with that being said, for tomorrow's event, we are going to be going through a lot of the LA County, the California statewide data, as well as some projections that came from the CAR economists, and then a couple of legislative updates. We have our commercial and development training that is going to be happening at the Board of Realtors training room on October 25th. So many of you attended the fix and flip class and wanted more. This is going to be the next step in that kind of series that is a little bit more focused on some of the development side. So this will be on the 25th at 1 p.m. Towards the end of the month, on October 28th, we also have our 3rd annual Trunk or Treat. We're really excited about this. Many of you know we've been doing something for Halloween for the community for the past 5 years, except that the first 2 years was a door decorating contest. As part of COVID, we moved this to a Trunk or Treat. And so this is our 3rd annual Trunk or Treat. We've been featured in the Downey Latino. We've been featured on the news. This is a really amazing community event. Please stop by the front desk to sign up if you're going to be having a car that is available so that we can showcase the data. I will know this is a really good opportunity to share this with your clients. The flyers went out yesterday. We'll repost them again, but this is an amazing opportunity to share this with your clients and have a great conversation that has nothing necessarily to do with real estate. Why do we do that, right? Why do we do that? It's because our clients want to know that they don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And so if you're calling and doing a call on your clients right now, I would be using this as a great database touch, right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Whoever the person might be, and I'll get to the, I see the hand raised, so give me 1 second, right? I wanted to call to invite you. We're having an annual trunk or treat that is going to be hosted in the upstairs Porto's parking lot. Would love to invite you and your client, you and your friends and family and your kids to come out, right? It's a great opportunity to talk to your clients that has nothing to do with real estate. And of course, you could always say, hey, I'll send you the details. By the way, right now that I have you on the phone, just out of curiosity, what are your real estate plans for the next year? Are there any real estate related questions that I might be able to help you with, right? So this is a great touch opportunity. I see the question as well, Samantha, that is in the chat for broker previewing. So we are actually having this discussion as well. As a part of COVID, broker preview had ended, meaning we weren't able to go out and see properties. We just had a pretty in-depth discussion this past week here in the office about launching our own broker preview. We're looking at teaming up with some vendors that are in the area as well on this. And I spoke with the association last week so that we can make sure there's no challenges on us being able to continue. So we will be having an announcement about that exact thing coming up very quickly. The challenge that we are having right now, right? The challenge that we're having right now is that there are not enough properties being submitted to the association to do a preview, right? Some weeks there are none that are submitted, and some weeks there's maybe one that are submitted. Because we are carrying, like I said, our listings are up 35.1%. and we are carrying a good amount of inventory right now. We are likely going to start doing broker preview internally before we expand it out. So that is something that we are working on right now. So that was a great question, but keep an eye out for that because it is coming soon, my friends, now that some of the COVID restrictions have loosened and they are at least starting to advertise an association preview as well. All right. A couple of industry updates I do want to give you. There was a couple of Senate bills, right? There's a couple of Senate bills that are incredibly important right now. One of those is SB 675. These two Senate, so there was two Senate bills, SB 675 and SB 1175. These Senate bills were opposed by the California Association of Realtors. Now, SB 1175, which was up north, was defeated. SB 675, unfortunately, passed. Unfortunately for CAR guidelines. The reason that this is a little bit concerning is because these Senate bills, right? These Senate bills established regional housing boards. With that being said, right, the concern around this, and so only time will tell what this is going to look like. The concern around this is that these Senate boards are giving kind of additional power to a regional housing board to install more taxes. Now, hopefully that is not the case. And yet that is highly likely that we're going to kind of continue to see this coming down the pipeline. We are going to be looking at SB 675 a little bit more in depth to see what the more regional or local implications are going to be for this board as well. The second thing that's going to be really important for us to look at, we are seeing a couple things that are happening in the real estate market right now. And so I want to make sure that we are kind of aware of what is going on across the board. One is that while we are seeing, so this was from CAR economist's mouth, they said, hey, yes, we are experiencing a shift, but no, this is not like 2008 all over again. Okay, my friends, they said sales are down, but they feel that we may be nearing bottom already, right? Because this is what happens. We start to even out a little bit. Now, what does that mean? We see some buyers that exit the industry, and we start to see some buyers come back into the industry. Like I mentioned before, investors are back. We talked about this a little at our fix and flip event, is making sure that we're adding some of these different opportunities to take more listings, to take more buyers, is by approaching a different type of buyer and understanding how to put together a really good property packet that speaks to the type of client that we are presenting to. Investors don't look at the same things that normal buyers do. And so it's important that we take that into consideration when we're presenting packets to that and kind of building up that group of buyers. So there's a lot that has happened right now from an industry affordability perspective. I do want to share one other resource with you, my friends. We're going to still share this screen. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull another piece up for you. We're going to go down. I'm not going to go through all the assembly bills. I went through a lot of these last week. We will be digging into these more and more. Can I get a thumbs up that you can see this all interactive dashboards page? Thumbs up, my friends. There we go. Thank you, Clarissa. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. I see the heart, Samantha. Awesome. Okay. So with that being said, right, on CAR's website, you have an all interactive dashboards page. It has a lot of really interesting stuff in here. The one that I actually want to look at is going to be our interest rate effect. I showed this dashboard at our Friday session. I'm going to show it again here. So I want to give this to you as a resource because I want you as agents to understand the factor that affordability plays and the factor that this kind of increases that we've seen in the interest rate, how that impacts our clients. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rate at about 7.5%. Since we talked about that conventional rate being at about 7.6 and that FHA rate being between 7 to 7.2. Based on, let's say we were looking at Los Angeles County, right? We're going to select a household income. So let's say that we've got a couple and their joined income is 120,000, right? We're going to do an estimate here. Now, we're going to have their selected down payment. We see that not many people are doing 20% down right now. So let's go ahead and drop that to about 3.5%. I want you to take a look at this target monthly payment, right? PITI here. This is the selected desired monthly payment percentage of income. If they are in a low, they want only to use 30% of their income, then their target monthly payment is about $300. If we go medium and their payment is going to be about $3,500, right? This is going to be our medium and this is our high. So let's actually look at this. Let's go back to our low. We're at about a 7.5% here. We can see that we've got a target monthly payment. We also have a price cutoff, $379,871, and a projected down payment amount. What does that mean? What this means is if they only want to use 3.5% of their income and they're at a 7.5 rate in Los Angeles County with an annual household income of about 120, if they want to keep a target monthly payment of $3,000, right, of $3,000, then the maximum price is about $379,871, right? As of September 2022, there are 190 listings that meet that qualification. That is 2% of the total market. If they went up to a medium payment amount, their options open up because their payment goes up, so does their price cutoff, and now there are 529 listings in Los Angeles County for them to choose from. 6%, right? This is also going to give you a breakdown of condos. So 37% of those are condos, 63% are homes. It's showing you the areas that these properties are in as well. This is an example. Now, let's say that we were able to buy down a couple points, right? So generally a point on average, again, this is an estimate. I am not a mortgage professional, okay? But a point on average is going to give you 0.25% about of your interest rate. So let's say that we bought down 4 points at close and we dropped that to 6.5. Now that payment stays the same, but their price cutoff has changed. So we look at this, right? We drop down 1 point. We've got that price cutoff change. Their options have changed. What if we drop that down even further? So I want to give you that perspective, right? Because where we are right now, what somebody could have afforded when the interest rate is about 5.5, at that same payment is about 527. Now at 7.5 is 443. We see interest rates go up, but we don't necessarily see the prices drop at the same rate. And so this is important to look at, because what's important for your client the majority of the time is their monthly payment. And they need to know that even though, right, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to wait until prices go down. And yet the rates have gone up faster than prices are going down. And so the longer they wait, especially if we see a continuation of rates going up, right, which there's no way of knowing 100%. There's a lot of projections out there saying, hey, we might see rates go down next year. We might see them go up. We'll see. In reality, without seeing where inflation goes, we cannot really see this. But I think this is a great kind of demonstrator for you to understand what that price cutoff is for your client based on their target monthly payment. And it is putting into consideration that, hey, yes, we are seeing price corrections. We are not necessarily seeing them at the same rate that we are seeing that interest rate continue to increase. So this is just an additional tool that is available for you, my friends. I wanted to share more of this information. I think there's a lot of resources that you have at your disposal. But the thing is that we have to understand what is happening in the market to be able to best advise our clients into what is happening. The good news is this: it is not 2008 all over again, right? We're not in that sort of market again. And the great news is that when you have a greater understanding of what is happening in the market right now, you have the most opportunity to help to consult your clients to make great, what is going to be a good decision for them. People do not buy and sell based on economic cycles. Some do, investors do, right? Investors do, but the average buyer and seller does so on the basis of life cycles: death, divorce, dependence, right? Deployment, that they're relocating or they're getting deployed, that they're downsizing, dividends, that they've come into money, right? Or default. Those are the reasons that people tend to buy and sell, is they go and they grow their family and they get married, and now they have two incomes and they want to combine those so that they can find a beautiful home for them and their family, right? They have kids, and so now they need more bedrooms, right? I want you to think back, if you have family that has purchased before, is when did they make decisions to buy or sell? Generally, it's because something happens in their life. And it's important that we are a part of guiding them through that process. So right now, it's one of the best opportunities that you have to get in contact with your clients. Use the trunk or treat information, my friends. There's a lot of resources available through that for you, right? With our trunk or treat, there's a lot of opportunity that is available with holidays coming up, right? Nobody is going to be upset if you say, hey, would you be offended if I sent you a holiday card and then ask for their address, right? Right now is I don't care if those holiday cards are from the Dollar Tree. Right now is a great opportunity to reach out to your friends, to your family, to the people that are in your world, and find out what their real estate plans for the next year might be. And here's the thing: some of them might say, oh, we think we're going to wait because of X, and they simply don't know that they could actually afford to buy right now, right? A lot of people don't realize where they're at. So I just want to go ahead and note that. Samantha, I see your hand is still raised. Was that a different question, or do we have that question answered already? Going once, going twice. Nope, I think we're good. Okay, awesome, my friends. With that, I will see you tomorrow for our All Partners meeting. I hope you have an absolutely phenomenal rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Monica.